Here's something I never thought I'd be able to say. This is the M1 by Monstatek. The M1 is a wireless testing tool that they were pitching would be a replacement for the Flipper Zero. I covered this thing 2 years ago on Kickstarter, and like a lot of other people, I thought it was going to turn into a rug pull. But yeah, it's actually inside the box. You can see it's right here, and today I'm going to go through everything you need to know about the M1 by Monstatek. I gotta tell you, I don't think I've ever been this surprised to have a device in my hand. Alright, so that's enough intro. This is the M1 by Monstatek.
This video is for educational purposes only. Only test your own hardware. Doing otherwise is illegal. Don't be a skid.
Alright, I guess there's nothing else to do but to pop over to the top-down camera and unbox this thing. So this is the M1 by Monstatek. Now, I actually cut my finger at work, and nobody wants to look at a Band-Aid, so in honor of Monstatek, we have Monsta Tip, little finger guy right here. It's a lot more fun. You don't have to stare at my Band-Aid, so yeah, cool. Let's open this thing up. So, pop this open here. And then we have Unleash Your Monsta. It's a little out of center, but that's okay. We have the device right here. It is on because I charged it, but this is brand new. We haven't done anything to it yet. This is the infamous M1. We'll put this over here. What else do we have? We have our getting started guide, and then we have a just, random cheap USB cable. At least it's USB-C. That's cool. Throw this over here. Got our little getting started guide. Hold a button for 3 seconds to start it. And then we have adding storage, add an SD card, how to reboot the device, and how to update the firmware. However, let's check this out real quick. So here we are over at Monstatek's website. So we're supposed to go to update. So let's just delete all this. Update.monstatek.com.
Nope.
Well, Monstatek's website seems to be having a bit of an identity crisis. If you're building a project that actually works, you're going to need a reliable manufacturer. And that's where today's sponsor comes in. PCBWay. PCBWay is your one-stop shop for all things design, manufacture, 3D printing, CNC, sheet metal fabrication, and so much more. And don't forget that they actually do PCB assembly, so you don't have to solder anything yourself if you don't want to. They offer so many products and services no matter what your project is. PCBWay can help. And don't forget the module store. There is so much cool stuff on there. I get inspired every single time I go there. So head on down to PCBWay.com for a free instant quote. Thank you so much to PCBWay for your continued support. You guys are awesome. All right, let's get back at it. All right, now they do have a Discord you can join them in, and they are doing some updatey stuff, although there doesn't appear to be a link to the Discord on the documentation, so that's a little weird, but nobody really cares about that. Anyway, let's get directly into the M1. We press any button, it should light up. Oh great, you can't see anything. Thanks, Monstatek. See if we can change the brightness. Nope. So we're gonna have to turn the screen way, way down. But actually, before we do that, let's take a look at the device itself so we can see everything. So we have a classic 4 buttons right there and a back button, just like the Flipper Zero. We have what looks to be a, USB-C here, and then we've got a little lanyard hoop. If we look at the back here, that's what I'm assuming is an NFC coil or something. If I'm wrong, let me know down in the comments, please. We have over here, that must be our IR. Yep, right there. And let's do a cool little screen pull now that we're here. You can see the menu now that the backlight is not on. But again, I'll fix the exposure. So let's give you a peel. This was actually sent to me by a community member, but I think he's cool if I do a peel on it. Look at that. Oh, that's gorgeous. Now, one of the other things that they did send with this bundle was a screen protector. So I'm immediately going to put a screen protector on this thing. So it says, please peel this before application. Okay, going to be super careful about this. I didn't realize I was going to be wearing this when I had to put the screen protector on. So let's hope for the best. Okay, careful. And then we can just get this as lined up as humanly possible. It's not the right size? Dude, this is 100% a screen protector for a Flipper Zero. What the Well, now we have an offside screen protector. Jesus, hold on. All right, that's better. Had to do it off screen because, again, Monstafinger, not easy. Let's go ahead and throw an SD card in here so it doesn't yell at me. It's kind of could use a pokey tool, so I've got a Covert Instruments tension bar, 90 degrees, top of keyway, and give it a little push. And now we have an SD card in there, and you can't really see anything. Whatever. All right, let's adjust the brightness so you can see this, and we'll go through everything on this device. Alrighty, that's a little better. Version 0.8. So right now, there are no updates to this firmware, so this is all we have. But let's take a look. Just go through the menu, Sub-GHz. We have RFID, NFC, infrared, GPIO, because there are pins. Oh, you can still see it on the top. Now, there's 8 pins there, okay, and 9 pins there. So I wonder if they're using a single board or are these going to be multiple boards. It will be interesting if they actually, make those things. I can't remember if it was Monstatek or Cyber Pro that had an adapter board for Flipper Zero boards, but we'll have to see in the future. Scrolling down, we have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and then the settings. I was hoping that somewhere in the settings I'd be able to do something like change the brightness, but there's nothing on here. Go to firmware update. It can update from image files, but we don't have the image files yet. So it's our battery info. Okay, and I swear they took this exactly from Flipper Zero. Like, let me take a look at Flipper Zero. What does it say on battery stuff? That looks kind of similar to me. I don't know, just throwing it out there. You can make up your own minds on that one, but I don't know. I think it looks kind of similar to me. All right, moving on. So, oh, that's how you power off. I was trying to figure out how to power this thing off for so freaking long. All right, cool. So let's go and take a look at some of the things that this will do. So first of all, let's go into, let's start with NFC, which is a fun one to do. So let's read. What I have done is my buddy Uber Guido's actually sent me a bunch of these little NFC stickers. So they stick onto things and you can program them. So I have programmed this, and let's see if we can go ahead and read this. So let's press read and then hold the NFC tag. Hey, okay, it read, so it knows that it's an NFC ultralight end tag, which it is. Does it tell me what it says? Info? Okay, more. And it gives me the hex for it. Okay, so you can see I have don't be a skid is what I programmed to the card, but it's pretty hard to read when it's just as hex. Interesting that they're not parsing this and they're just dumping full hex. Huh. And before we get too far, I do want to mention that this is an authorized defensive audit conducted in a controlled lab environment. I'm testing my own hardware and I'm giving myself permission to test all of my own equipment for educational security research. Never attempt this on unauthorized networks. Don't be a skid. All right, so let's check out RFID. So let's go here. Now they gave me this tag. I'm not sure if this is RFID or an NFC tag. So let's see if we can read. And all right, hold up to the back. Nope. Well, that doesn't seem to work. Let's see if it's an NFC. Here's NFC and read. What does it do? Nope. Does this do anything? What are you? I guess we can always check it with a Flipper Zero. Let's try that. Grab this guy and start with 125 kilohertz RFID. And
how about new?
What are you? Let's go to NFC. Nope. It's nothing. This is nothing. Well, that was rather disappointing. So let's go to Sub-GHz. So let's fire this guy up right here. And yeah, it kind of looks like the Flipper Zero. We have our record, replay, our frequency reader, regional information. What is our regional information? What do we know about our region? So it's just telling us what bands are frequently used in North America. That's interesting. So what we're going to be using today is this remote that I'm giving myself permission to test. This is just one of those remotes that's used for like Christmas lights and stuff. You can turn them on, turn them off, start a timer, and it just turns an outlet on or off. So I don't really know what frequency that is. So let's see if the frequency reader works. Let's go to that, let's fire that up. We press a button. It should hopefully tell us a frequency. There we go. 433,920. So it looks like it's sitting right around 434 or so. So let's see if we can enter that in. So let's go to record and 434,920. Oh, that's actually, I think it actually picked that from the last selection. So if we go to press start and then we just press our button here, did it do anything? Hold on, let me go validate this test. All right, so here is the actual outlet that thing works for. You can see if we press the button, we can go through the power and all the different settings. And if we go ahead and press the on button, off button, all those things actually work right here. So we had pressed the on button with our Monstatek. So let's see if we can send that out. Okay, so it does work. It just doesn't really make any sort of noise or anything when it catches a signal, but it does work. So that could be fixed in firmware. That's not a huge deal. Awesome. All right, so moving on, let's go to infrared. What does this do? So we have universal remotes and then we can learn. So let's go ahead and learn reading, and let's grab just one of our super generic, everybody's got one of these kicking around, IR remotes. We'll press the button and okay, cool. So it learned that. And let's see if we can control some lights with this thing. All right, so let's go ahead and take the M1 and it works. Cool. All right, so now that we know that IR works, so we have GPIO, and obviously we don't have anything to plug into this right now. Now you can see that they have the beginnings of GPIO set up there, and oh, they've even got a UART bridge. Please update firmware. Well, we tried to do that, buddy, and how did that go? Moving on, let's go to Wi-Fi, and let's see what Wi-Fi does. So for the moment, we can configure the Wi-Fi. Please update firmware. Boo! So if we go ahead and scan access points in my test environment, let's see what it comes up with. Obviously, I am going to have to blur this out for my own personal privacy, but yeah, it effectively goes through and it seems to have found 13 access points on my test network. Now, you can't really do anything with that information at all, but again, it's a brand new device and we can't even update the firmware to make our configuration work, so it's definitely work in progress. Let's hop into Bluetooth, see what that has to offer right there. And let's scan Bluetooth, see what that does. Now I have 3 Flipper Zeros right over there. All of those are definitely broadcasting Bluetooth right now. So you can see 29 devices. What else is in here? It only shows MAC addresses. It doesn't show any of the actual device names. So while that is mildly useful, it's actually not very useful whatsoever. And again, brand new firmware, and hopefully they fix that moving forward. But I do remember when the Flipper Zero came out, it was a lot more capable right out of the box. So yeah, this isn't great. And if we advertise in Bluetooth, what does that do? So right now it is advertising a Bluetooth device called the Monstatek M1. And I don't know if that's supposed to be a MAC address or what, but it can do that. And if we go ahead and configure our Bluetooth, we have to update the firmware again. That seems to be an ongoing theme, not one I like. So that's pretty much it. It's really bare bones. There's not a lot of stuff that works, but this is the M1 by Monstatek. Now, unfortunately for Monstatek, if they had actually released this device on their timeline, I think this might have been a really popular device. The problem is this thing is DOA already because it doesn't have dual band Wi-Fi. Nobody's going to want to buy a device right now that doesn't have dual band Wi-Fi because everybody else has the ESP32C5. All right, so that was the M1 by Monstatek. So what do you think? Flipper Zero killer or too little, too late? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. You guys are absolute legends. We'll catch you next time.